Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat.
This is Dwayne St. Nicholas, and I approve this message.
KUAM News headlines are presented by Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust. Serving Micronesia since 1938, Matson celebrating 25 years of commitment to Guam, Micronesia, and the CNMI. Cars Plus, Guam's leader in sustainability and electric vehicles. Learn more at carsplusguam.com. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it, and King's Restaurant, serving your local breakfast, lunch, and dinner favorites for over 45 years.
Ahead on KUAM News Primetime, 3 people facing child abuse charges in local court. The details coming out of a magistrate complaint. Plus, a man on trial for a drive-by shooting will not be getting out of jail anytime soon. And dozens more Guam police officers to be recruited, the largest expansion in recent years.
Hafide, good evening, everyone. I'm Hannah Devanzo, and thanks for tuning in to your news leader. Well, we begin with the latest into multiple armed robberies reported in the north. 2 of them at New Home Market in Dedido and Hill Market in Jigo. The robberies happening the past couple of days. 38-year-old Abraham Sorium and 30-year-old KM Rechef, each charged with robbery, terrorizing, theft by threatening, use of a deadly weapon, and conspiracy. The pair spotted in a getaway car in Harmon on Sunday. Police say they expect more arrests. And 3 people are placed under arrest after a teenage boy alleged he was burned repeatedly with a torch lighter. The alleged abuser telling police he would burn the boy to discipline him, adding that each time he was high on meth. 37-year-old Benjamin John DeSoto Rabin is charged with aggravated assault, child abuse, and family violence. The following day, police arrested 49-year-old David DeSoto Rabin and 31-year-old Demi Ray San Nicolas on suspicion of child abuse, family violence in connection to the case. David Rabin allegedly admitting to authorities he never reported the abuse. On Friday, witnesses spotted the teen alone and injured when they waved down officers to investigate. And a local doctor who stands accused of sexually abusing multiple patients is set to answer to the allegations filed against him in Superior Court. Dr. Ugochukwu Akoma faces 2 counts of 4th-degree criminal sexual conduct and will be arraigned tomorrow morning before Magistrate Judge Benjamin Cizon. The complaint stems from allegations from a woman who said the doctor forced her to perform sexual acts. The woman telling KUAM she never thought she would have to worry about a doctor. Akoma declined to comment. And 2 Guam men facing illegal drug possession charges await their fate in an Arizona court. 33-year-old Willie Delgado of Jigo and 29-year-old Vincent Villa of Dedido each face charges of dangerous drug possession for sale, marijuana, possession for sale, and illegal control of enterprise. The indictment handed down against the pair back in July. No word at this time how much drugs authorities found on the 2. And Nicholas Wayne Moore won't be getting out of prison after Superior Court Judge Alberto Tolentino denied his request for house arrest. Prosecutors contend Moore has a history of violating the court's orders while on release. Assistant Attorney General Sean Brown arguing, if release is granted, there is a chance that Mr. Moore will consume substances. Moore is on trial for a drive-by shooting in Agana Heights that sent a man to the hospital. Trial will continue on Tuesday in Superior Court. And could the island be getting more police officers? The administration today announcing plans to recruit 73 new Guam police officers, calling it the largest expansion of GPD's workforce in recent years. The funding to bring them on is from the COPS hiring programs from 2020 and 2022, the American Rescue Plan funds, and from GPD's current fiscal year budget. Unclear how soon these new recruits would get to work. They anticipate manpower increase along with construction of a new police precinct in Talifofo as added efforts to help the community feel safer. And now to a story about the first responders at the prison. 6 Department of Corrections officers are undergoing weeks of vigorous training with the goal of joining the Special Operation Response Team. Here's more.
The Special Operations Response Team is a vital part of the Department of Corrections. If anything goes down from riots to an escape, SORT needs to be ready. Operations Commander for SORT, Captain Joey Pokaigui, is leading a 7-week training program. In order to join SORT, you must first pass the prerequisites.
1 mile under 7 minutes and 56 seconds. Then you get a minute break. Then you get into 52 push-ups, a minute break. Then you get into 46 sit-ups, a minute break. Then you get to do 6 sit-ups, no time frame. Then that's just the prerequisite.
After passing the prerequisites, corrections officers can then join the SORT training program. While dripping in sweat, Corrections Officer Ramon Canata says this is just the warm-up.
This right here is the bags warm-up. So every time we start in the morning and afternoon, we always do our warm-up. So with this, we just do a few rounds, practice our kicks, our punches, our clinch.
Canata shares the training is all about self-defense and how to disengage. While it's intense, his purpose keeps him focused.
It's been a challenge. I love it. I like being here. It's something that I look forward to, going home to my family, showing them that, not only am I serving our community both ways, it's something I take pride in.
SORT's graduation ceremony will be held on November 18th at the Leo Palace Resort.
We're going to take a quick break. More news on the other side. Keep it right here to KUAM News.
Wouldn't you like your car to use 40% less gas? The new Ukudu generator and more solar energy will use less oil and lower your power bill. I want to make sure that happens. I'm Simon Sanchez, I'm running for the CCU, and I approve this message.
Half a day. I'm Tom Fisher. Here's the harsh reality. A trip to the grocery store for the basics, eggs, bag of rice, butter, can of Spam, milk, costs almost $30, and that's just 5 items. The cost of living continues to grow, but the money doesn't. We need to roll back the business privilege tax to reduce Guam's cost of living, and I will make that happen.
Vote Thomas Fisher for senator. If you want different, vote different.
I'm Tom Fisher, and I approve this message.
Half a day and mabuhay. I am former Senator Dennis Rodriguez Jr. I had the opportunity of working with Senator Joe San Agustin when I was in the Guam legislature. I know him as an honest, hardworking, and compassionate leader. Please join me and my family in voting for Senator Joe San Agustin this general election. Thank you, Seitus Maasi, maraming salamat po, and God bless Guam.
Half a day. I am Ricardo Mpinku and I'm running for CCU. I retired as GPA General Manager in 1999. I signed the first public-private partnership to build power plants that ended load shedding in the 1990s. In 2007, as Deputy GM for Veolia Water, we managed the GWA wastewater for 7 years. You, the ratepayers, deserve reliable power and water. Please vote for me. I'm Rick Mpinku and I approve this message.
The Camacho Ada campaign asks all our supporters to vote on the Republican side of the ballot on Election Day. From our friends Felix Camacho and Tony Ada for governor and lieutenant governor, Jim Moylan for delegate to the U.S. Congress, and our 15 candidates for the Guam legislature. Vote Republican from the top to the bottom. It all begins with you. You have to get involved with the process. That's how elections are won.
I'm Felix Camacho. And I'm Tony Ada. And we approve this message.
My name is Lisa Tahaji. I'm from the village of Yamatic. I lost my job during COVID. For 1 year, I was staying with a family member. But I knew I had to find a place to stay. I was desperately looking for a home. I found out about the Relief Center from the Governor Liu and Lieutenant Governor Josh's Facebook page. I wasn't sure if they could help, but I thought I'd take a chance. I walked into the center and the staff were so understanding and compassionate, they helped me. Within a week, through their assistance, I was called to sign a lease agreement. My kids and I now have a roof over our heads, and I'm grateful for the help of the administration and the Relief Center. For anyone who needs any government assistance, I encourage you to visit the Relief Center. They are there to help.
What you need to know from the Northern Marianas. Follow KUAM CNMI on Instagram for the latest regional headlines.
There's only about a week left until the general election and just 2 days left for early voting, which is this Tuesday and Thursday. Wednesday is a GovGuam holiday. And Election Commission Executive Director Maria Pangilinan says so far about 10% of registered voters have cast early ballots.
As of this weekend, those people that showed up at the Westin and the satellite sites, 5,764. We have about 60,000 registered voters. We will have a final number hopefully by this weekend.
She says they have a full complement of precinct officials and expect a smooth process on Election Day, November 8th. A test run of the balloting machines is scheduled for Sunday. Meanwhile, the two gubernatorial camps held competing rallies over the weekend. The Republican Party faithful gathered at the Guam Greyhound Park in Tamuning, where it was not just a political assembly, but also a celebration of former Governor Felix Camacho's 65th birthday. And not to be outdone, the Democrats staged their own event over in Hagåtña. Lou and Josh followers braved the rain to assemble at their campaign headquarters for a round of speeches. Once again, just to remind everyone that there's just one more weekend to go before next Tuesday's general election. And over the weekend, the Drug Enforcement Administration, in partnership with AmeriCorps, held National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day. DEA and AmeriCorps officials were spread out in 3 different locations, and by the end of the event, 423 pounds worth of prescription meds were taken back. Ulysses Story is a member of AmeriCorps.
Take-Back Day is where we try to educate the community and accept expired medications or unwanted that they no longer use, that we can take and properly dispose of them. Because some people just throw it in the trash, or they seem to flush it down the toilet. So we want to help protect the environment, safety for the community.
National Take-Back Day aims to provide a safe, convenient, and responsible means of disposing of prescription drugs, while also educating the general public about the potential for abuse of medications. And what is the state of the Commonwealth? Well, you'll have to wait to find out until the CNMI legislature can agree on when and where the governor can deliver his speech. Regional correspondent Tomas Manglotnia reports.
The State of the Commonwealth address delayed once again, the House and Senate at odds over when and where that should take place. Governor Ralph Torres was supposed to deliver the constitutionally mandated annual report Monday morning. However, he says he's postponing the event in the interest of harmonizing the sentiment of our community that resulted from the chaos the House leadership created surrounding this matter.
It's just too close to election, the day before early voting starts.
That chaos, House leadership wants the speech delivered after the election at a public venue and not at a hotel as proposed by the Senate and Governor. The governor initially scheduled the speech without a request for a joint session. It's unclear if a speech will happen at all now. The last speech was 4 years ago, and recent typhoons have stalled speeches since then. Villagomez says they're looking into making the speech date-specific.
Maybe in the future looking at a bill to have in the event that, we're going to have a SOCA or a State of the Commonwealth, maybe have it around January or February. In the year, even if it's on an election year. Because
Senate President Jude Hofschneider was not available for comment. Perhaps the state of the Commonwealth will be decided on Election Day. Tomas Manglotnia for KUAM News.
And happy Halloween. What are you dressed up as this year? And GDOE students around the island dressed up in creative costumes and conducted spooky experiments. Matsuki Hirayama has more.
It's finally here. Aren't you excited for Halloween? That's right, the theme for tonight's Coordinating for a Cause is orange. And GDOE students are also getting in the spirit. Here's what they're wearing to kick off the spooky day.
And now for a look at your world at home. Here's a view captured today of Tangisan Beach. A beautiful day here in paradise. The Guam National Weather Service predicting Tuesday will be a nice one. Only 20% chance of rain and isolated showers with mostly cloudy skies. And Nick Delgado joins me shortly on the anchor desk.
Lower power bills. Protect our ocean and aquifer. I want to make sure this happens. On Election Day, I ask for just one of your 3 votes for the CCU so we can continue our progress. I'm Simon Sanchez, and I approve this message.
Howdy, folks. Nobody loves a Guam potluck more than I do. That's why I always bring my world-famous chicken, served any way you like it. Original recipe, extra crispy tenders, Kentucky Fried Wings, and more. All right. And nothing completes a meal like KFC's signature sides. Hot mashed potatoes with gravy, coleslaw, and a flaky biscuit. The world's favorite chicken, right here on the island, and only at KFC Guam. Whoops! Well, it is finger-looking good.
Hafaday, I'm former Senator George Pomba. Many of you remember my parents, George and Cecilia, with strong roots in both parties. I was also Chief of Staff under 2 Republican governors, including Felix Camacho. Working with Governor Liu and Lieutenant Governor Josh, I have seen up close the difference that they have made, their fairness and compassion during COVID, and strong fiscal discipline that turned our island's economy around and helped our island become stronger. Their vision for the future is bright, a diversified economy, improved infrastructure, and more opportunities for our people. You could not find any team more honest, hardworking, caring, or competent than Liu and Josh. In Guam elections, it's not only about party, it's about the people. I urge my friends and family to vote for Liu and Josh so we can keep Guam moving forward.
This is Governor Guerrero, and I approve this message.
Connecting people, devices, and applications. At Docomo Pacific, we know a business like Ambith needs to be able to adapt under any work environment, to perform efficiently and stay operationally resilient. No matter what obstacles or opportunities your business faces, you need to connect with customers, employees, and partners in real time. That's why we do the heavy lifting, so you can jump right into what drives your success and meet your customers where they want to be met. Powering networks for performance, reliability, and satisfaction. Docomo Pacific. Work better together.
I am Ann Leon Guerrero. I am voting for Joe.
I am Ernie Caceres. I am voting for Joe.
I am Rose Tapasna Mesa, and I am voting for Joe.
I am Kathy Leon Guerrero, and I'm voting for Joe.
I'm Hope Benavente de los Reyes, and I'm voting for Joe.
I'm Marilyn Tablante. I'm voting for Joe.
I am Deb Kenga. I am voting for Joe.
My name is Michael Gofigan Tapasna, and I am voting for Joe.
I'm Ray Leon Guerrero. I'm voting for Joe.
I'm Benjamin D. Mesa Jr. I'll be voting for Joe.
I'm Pete Johnson, and I'm voting for Joe. Whoa.
Calvo Select Care's comprehensive medical provider network offers our members choice and access to quality facilities locally in Asia, Hawaii, and the continental United States. We provide our members several wellness programs and healthy options to improve their overall health status. Calvo Select Care, healthcare that's always there for you. Contact us today for more information.
KUAM Sports is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
What's up, Guam? Dave Delgado here for KUAM Sports. Thanks for watching. We get the show started tonight with some youth soccer news from the GFA field in Harmon. Check it out. The Triple J Auto Group Robbie Weber Youth Soccer League Fall 2022 Jamboree will be held on November 19th, the final week of the season. There are 121 teams from 13 different clubs in 5 different age divisions: U6, U8, U10, U12, and U15. Games are played on Saturdays at the Guam Football Association National Training Center. Guam Track and Field National Team Coach Desmond Mandel will be hosting an ID camp at the GW High School from November 1st through the 11th. Joining Mandel will be Guam National Shot Put record holder Jeannie Gerardo. The camp will cost $20 and will run from 4:30 to 6 p.m. on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Friday. GTFA is always looking to lure new talent into our sport. Guam has a lot of untapped potential, so we hope to identify more athletes and get them involved in the national team, says Mandel. The camp is open to all ages. To register, check out guamtrackandfield.com or email drmandel@gmail.com. Now for some stateside news, Cynthia Dimapon, formerly the head volleyball coach at Untalan Middle School and assistant coach at Notre Dame High School, continues to make history in South Carolina. Dimapon led the Cardinal Newman School to the 2022 SCISA 4A State Volleyball Championship title. The Cardinals from Columbia, South Carolina, swept the Porter God Cyclones from Charleston, South Carolina, 25-11, 25-15, 25-13. Cynthia Dimapon, formerly known as Cynthia St. Nicholas, is the daughter of longtime volleyball coach Fred St. Nicholas. In baseball news, the University of Guam Triton baseball team defeated the Eagles 14-2 in the Guam Amateur Baseball League at the Triple J Baseball Complex at Ukudu High School. Jathan Munya Barnes led the Tritons, going 3 for 4 at the plate with the home run and 3 RBIs. Darren Pangolina was 2 for 3 with 2 runs scored and 2 RBIs. The Tritons are now 4-2 in the Amateur League.
KUAM Sports is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
My name is Lisa Tahaji. I'm from the village of Yamatic. I lost my job during COVID. For 1 year, I was staying with a family member, but I knew I had to find a place to stay. I was desperately looking for a home. I found out about the Relief Center from the Governor Lou and Lieutenant Governor Josh's Facebook page. I wasn't sure if they could help, but I thought I'd take a chance. I walked into the center and the staff were so understanding and compassionate. They helped me. Within a week, through their assistance, I was called to sign a lease agreement. My kids and I now have a roof over our heads, and I'm grateful for the help of the administration and the Relief Center. For anyone who needs any government assistance, I encourage you to visit the
Enjoy the deliciously saucy McRib. Only for a limited time and only at McDonald's.
The legendary McRib is back. Pair it with fries and a drink for a limited time.
Choose from the services you want and save big when you bundle. Fast internet speeds, unlimited mobile data, digital TV that you can stream anywhere, and digital home phone for Guam's most reliable network. The more you choose, the more you save. Over $1,000 a year. And for a limited time, bundle Internet 75 or higher and get a $100 account credit. Visit GTA.net and use our bundle calculator to see how much you can save. GTA, we start with you.
My name is Lisa Tahaji. I'm from the village of Yamatic. I lost my job during COVID. For 1 year, I was staying with a family member, but I knew I had to find a place to stay. I was desperately looking for a home. I found out about the Relief Center from the Governor Lou and Lieutenant Governor Josh's Facebook page. I wasn't sure if they could help, but I thought I'd take a chance. I walked into the center and the staff were so understanding and compassionate. They helped me. Within a week, through their assistance, I was called to sign a lease agreement. My kids and I now have a roof over our heads, and I'm grateful for the help of the administration and the Relief Center. For anyone who needs any government assistance, I encourage you to visit the Relief Center. They are there to help.
My name is Leonza Selvage, and I have a 4-year-old daughter who goes to lots of learning daycare. So with the rising cost of living, it helps tremendously with bills. I don't have to worry about paying for childcare services. Knowing that this program is offered to our people, most especially our children, I think something to definitely be grateful for. I learned about Programan Panilan from the mayor's offices here, and my initial reaction to the program, I was actually in disbelief that this program offered free childcare services to our people. I wanted to give my mom a break for a little bit, so when I found out about the program, I jumped right on it. I was relieved because childcare at no cost. I'm thankful for this program because I don't have to worry about an extra. with the governor, the lieutenant governor, everyone behind the scenes that made this happen.
Need help paying for childcare? Guam families can receive financial support through Programan Pinilan. Learn more and apply at guamchildcare.com.
Welcome back to your news later. Do you like our Halloween looks?
Yeah, a little different from earlier on in this show, but of course, in the Halloween spirit.
Yeah, and you have a hole in your head.
Thank you, and she's got a little
but I still
fern.
feel like I still pull it off well, you know?
You can.
All right, and now to your birthday shout-outs.
Ooh, Halloween birthday today on October 31st, so happy birthday! And Biba Cumpleaños girlfriend, otherwise known to you and me as Gloria Borja. May the blessings be with you always. Gunaiza, si Mary Frank. And Benny San Augustine, happy birthday, husband, brother, and Nyao on this special day. We love you today and evermore. And for being born on October 31st, we celebrate both Gloria and Benny, and we wish them all the best. Happy trick-or-treating, everybody! Woo!
And you can submit your Cold Stone Creamery birthday club. Just go to KUAM.com. Well, Hannah, what's your Halloween plans for the night?
I don't know. I don't have anything
Get
yet.
a little chocolate wasted?
Maybe. Maybe try to get some candy or go to a scary house.
Well, whatever your plans are, I hope it's safe for you and for everyone else out there trick-or-treating as well. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Nick Delgado.
And I'm Hannah Devanzo. Stay safe and good night.
Happy Halloween.
All right, everyone, welcome to another edition of The Hub. Our guests today are the president and head of the Guam Economic Development Administrator, that's what I was searching for, Administrator of the Guam Economic Development Authority, Melody Mendiola. Thanks for joining us.
Half a day, Nestor. Thank you for having me.
And, of course, one of our regular guests, the chairman of the Republican Party of Guam, Mr. Juan Carlos Benitez. Thanks for joining us, JC. All right, so before we get into the pocketbook economic issues that we were going to talk about today, I wanted to ask about the great debate because the OG came out today with a statement or a news release that is official cancellation of the great debate, which we have every gubernatorial year. And the Camacho Ada campaign also came out with a statement. Juan Carlos, can you talk about that?
Yes, I did a statement. I was there as a representative of the party where we got invited to the meeting where normally we would go through what are going to be the rules, the procedure that will happen for the great debate. And it was heartbreaking, to see the young kids come out and said that the decision had been made to cancel the great debate. After 28 years as the main and most of the time only debate in Guam, it was sad to see that end this election year. I think the release from the Camacho Ada campaign is sort of hoping that there might be a solution where the Lou and Josh campaign would reconsider and do allow an opportunity for the students to presence and continue to participate. Through the years, there has been one debate that has been consistent, has been the great debate. This year, there was a proliferation of debates. We ended up having 8 debates. I think that they were official, and then the different Rotary clubs were all they want to all do debates. And the different campaigns chose which debates they wanted to attend or not. But then a decision was made by the Lou and Josh campaign that they would not attend any more debates unless the Camacho Ada campaign would go back in time and redo the debates they didn't do. But it's sad to see. I don't think that you should be dictating what debates your opponent takes or doesn't take. That's up to the decision of the opponent. But we hope, and I truly hope for the students and for the people of Guam that they get an opportunity to see their gubernatorial candidates articulating and debating their points of view in front of each other so they can make a choice of who should be or continue to be the governor of Guam.
Now, Mel, you're not involved directly in the political campaign, but you are a very prominent cabinet member of the current administration. I know that there's been a lot of finger pointing between the camps about who's to blame for not the debates not materializing. You got a comment on that?
Well, I think that the Lou and Josh camp have been pretty consistent about the reason behind not participating in the debates, including the great debate. Of course, it's a disappointment to anyone who's put in hard work, whether it's the students of the University of Guam or any organization, the students of the Chamorro Association or any other organization that invites candidates to show up. And I think Dr. McNinch had an interesting backup plan, and the students, the decision not to move forward, I think was a reflection of a number of items. But I think the debate climate is also changing. You know, I've started watching some of the debates going on in the United States. It looks like in the mainland, it looks like debates are getting a little bit more, they're getting smaller. Sometimes it's just the reporter and the two candidates. And I think the great debate was more of like a sporting event. And, you know, in all sporting events, one team doesn't always get to choose where they'd like to play. You know, if the Yankees only played at the Yankees Stadium, then maybe we'd have different outcomes than we do. But you got to go out and got to push beyond your comfort level. Being governor, you know, you got to go and talk to people that don't necessarily want to talk to you. And so I think sometimes, you know, we make decisions. I'm not really party to the decisions made behind the debates, but I respect Lou and Josh Camp's decision to remain consistent.
Yeah, but I really think the other debates are debates for particular groups of entity: the Chamber of Commerce, the Women's Chamber of Commerce, the Realtors, Guam Realtors Association, the Hotel and Restaurant Association. They have their own thing, but the great debate. The great debate was great because the questions were made by the students about the issues that impacted and affected them. And it was a level playing field. I don't think there's ever been a candidate that has complained and said, I didn't feel that it was a fair opportunity or showing that was given to us at the great debate. I think it's sad that this has happened and the session is. And again, we're hopeful that there might be a way that we find a middle ground where we can at least have one debate.
Well, since you mentioned that, and Mel mentioned the trend towards a more intimate debate between just the two principals and maybe a reporter, we're working on something along those lines. Hopefully it comes true, and if it does, we will have a lot more details in the days ahead. Okay, but let's move on to what we brought you on here for was the pocketbook issues. And the first one is, and something that the Chamber of Commerce has been very adamant about, is the rollback of the business privilege tax. And two things that they point to is the fact that just this past fiscal year, the Budget Bureau came out with the final year-end CRER, the Consolidated Revenue and Expenditure Report, which showed revenues in excess of projections of over $100 million. So that's one. And then just, I think it was the past fiscal year in which the EITC is now going to be paid out of the federal pocketbook instead of the local pocketbook. So that's about, I guess, up to $70 million that we're also saving from the general fund revenues. So with that in mind, Mel, should Gov Guam return some of that money back to the business community in the form of a rollback of the BPT?
In the form of a rollback of the BPT. I think that's a very interesting question. I've certainly been part of I've certainly been part as a member of the chamber, as a member of the Guam Young Professionals, as a member of the Republican Party of the rollback crowd. And it wasn't until I got a little bit more informed about what's going on in our government financials that I started to really understand and kind of form a position on how I feel about the rollback of BPT. To me, the rollback, a unilateral rollback, is really easy to talk about, right? 5% to 4%. We keep it simple, nice and easy, and it impacts the businesses. What I don't agree with is saying that the 5% to 4% is meant to help the people of Guam and the rising cost of things. 5% to 4%. Right now, 80 to 90% of our local businesses already pay less than 5% under the expanded Dave Santos exemption, which I think everyone, including the Guam Chamber and all the 4% crowd, was in favor of when we expanded that exemption. But to roll back from 5 to 4, what you're really talking about are targeting a lot of our military contractors. I don't see any reason why they can't pay the full fare. You're talking about bigger businesses. And as far as translating that to the register, I could certainly see that in inelastic products with a lot of competition, such as fuel. I could also see it with health insurance. I mean, that's one of the reasons why the Governor Leon Guerrero lifted the moratorium on health insurance, was so that we could have targeted BPT abatement that really is truly passed on for the benefit of the people of Guam. Most of the outperformance that happened above projection in the financials has to do with individual tax filings. If the windfall, quote unquote, came from BPT, well, I mean, even if we kind of go back to the budgeting period of fiscal 2022, on one side of the aisle, they were saying, you're over-projecting, GovGuam, you're over-projecting, the administration's over-projecting, so they pulled it back. So the outperformance is not unexpected, because it was a very conservative level of revenue that was adopted. Having said that, the outperformance, the above projected performance has happened because of individual filings, not because of, I think BPT is like 10%, 11% above projection. That to me is hardly a windfall. And so if that being the case, we're not quite there. And I think the governor is very open to targeted abatement and targeted rebates. I think the new federal tax things that are coming down that Daphne Shimizu was talking about this morning on the radio, that's going to affect
IRS
income.
Adjustments.
Yes, that's going to affect our individual. It's going to affect our corporate. And that's the part that's projecting as over. So we could be coming up on a situation similar to the Trump tax cuts in 2018, which by and large were a good thing because they cut the corporate taxes, but they left us in this situation where we have a shortfall in our revenue, hence the increasing of the BPT. You know, I think the last time they did this, the last time the BPT was rolled back, it was like went from 6% down to 4%. I don't really see any studies shown, or I don't know if anecdotally we can even ask, like, hey, did the price go down when we rolled back to 4%? Did you pay less for spam? Did you pay less for cigarettes? I don't recall. So.
Well, your response, Juan Carlos, and to the fact that, as the legislature will always say, they have in effect rolled back for 80% of the businesses the BPT, business privilege tax.
Okay, so I'll go by parts. So. And Melanie, it's good to see you.
Hey,
actually, we get along very well.
That's good. That's great.
I'll go by parts. First, let's go back in history. 6%. Felix Camacho lowered back to 4% after 6 months. It was a needed increase at the time for shortfall. It was addressed and eliminated. When we did the raise to 5%, the people of Guam, were told, this is temporary. Businesses take it for a while. We're going to do it because the Trump tax cuts. And then as soon as we get our books in order and we can maintain our numbers, we're going to eliminate it. We didn't keep our word. That's a reality. Instead, what did we do? We got accustomed to getting the extra revenues and using it into other programs and continue to spend it. Year after year, for the last 2 years, we have an increase. What is the amount that lowering to 4% is estimated around $60 million. We have increase of $100 million in taxes. We have $70 million extra coming of the EITC. Why can we not keep our word and give this back to the companies? On the 90%.
So you think federal contractors should pay 4%? People that do work in the fence, and Juan Carlos and I really get it. We do get along. He's absolutely correct about that. Yeah. So we're just having fun up here, right? But so you really think that federal contractors who are flying in their people to work on our island should be paying 4%?
That contractor that's flying in the people to get in our island is not reporting the taxes in our island. So let's talk about the businesses that are reporting their taxes here and are filing here. Separate issue that we need to talk about the base and how they're doing. Some of these companies that are coming in are doing that work. But black construction deserves it? Absolutely, they deserve it. Do I think that the hotels deserve it? Absolutely, the hotel deserves it. The supermarket deserves it. The stores. We keep talking about 90% of the businesses. I'm a small business. You know how many employees I have? 1. You know the big businesses, and we like majority? The Hilton, the Sheraton, the Hyatt, the Westin, the Dusit, the Subaki. Are any of them paying 3%? No, they're all paying 5%. You look at the supermarkets. Give me any chain of supermarkets here, American Groceries, any of them. They're all paying the 5%. When you look at this, we need to figure out how we're going to address our companies. Our companies are barely struggling. They're barely made it through this COVID time. We're now going to have to deal with the fact that this Biden administration has strengthened the dollar to a point where tourists are not really going to come in the numbers we wanted until at least 2 years from now, when the exchange rate is more reasonable. When you're at 59 pesos, in the Philippines, people are not going to be coming here. They're going to want to go to the Philippines. When the Japanese yen is at 145, You know, we go there, they don't come here. So let's sort of be realistic. If we gave our word to do this, we should keep our word. It is time to bring relief, not only to 90% of the business, which I still want to see the actual statistic that show that it is 90% of the business, but to the largest employers in this island that employ the majority of the workers that we have here. Because tell you what, Melanie, find me an employer that tells you that they're still hiring the same amount of employees they had before COVID. They're surviving, they're trying to rehire. No one's hiring the same amount of workers that they had before COVID.
Okay, we got to take a real quick break, and we'll be back with more of our discussion right after this.
Honey, do you want some milk?
Do you ever wonder how your favorite products make their way into your local stores? Most arrive on state-of-the-art Matson vessels that transport containers of food, household items, equipment, and supplies into the islands every week. Because we know that you depend on us, we work closely with our partners to ensure that our shipments arrive on time, all the time, so you can find your favorite products when you need them. We transport the region's most precious cargo that supports successful businesses and promotes a better quality of life for our families. Matson is proud to have been the hometown shipping carrier for Guam, the CNMI, and Micronesia for the past 25 years, and you can count on us to be here for generations to come.
Hi today, I'm Kalina from Docks City College.
And I'm Kristen from Docks Daycare and Preschool.
And we are so honored to be caring for the children of Guam. The Governor's Child Care programs help businesses like ours to really focus on the kids. These programs also help nonprofits and after-school programs and grandparents and so many families.
Visit www.guamchildcare.com to learn more about the Governor's Child Care programs. This ad is paid for with funds administered by DPHSS.
Mobile offers a new and convenient way to fuel your vehicle. Pay gas and go. No need to line up inside the store. Press preset. Enter whole dollar amount without decimals. Press Loyalty ID and enter your mobile number or insert Smiles card. Insert and remove payment card or tap contactless credit card. Begin fueling. And don't forget to grab your receipt. Pay gas and go. It's that easy.
My name is Lisa Tahaji. I'm from the village of Umatic. I lost my job during COVID. For 1 year, I was staying with a family member, but I knew I had to find a place to stay. I was desperately looking for a home. I found out about the Relief Center from the Governor Lou and Lieutenant Governor Josh's Facebook page. I wasn't sure if they could help, but I thought I'd take a chance. I walked into the center and the staff were understanding and compassionate. They helped me. Within a week, through their assistance, I was called to sign a lease agreement. My kids and I now have a roof over our heads, and I'm grateful for the help of the administration and the Relief Center. For anyone who needs any government assistance, I encourage you to visit the Relief Center. They are there to help.
All right, we are back, and we're going to change topics now to the minimum wage. Should there be an increase to keep up with the inflation? We have the price of goods and services skyrocketing. Do wages need to keep up?
I think at this point in time, a minimum wage floor is not necessarily the priority in discussion about wages, because right now what we have going on is we have a competitive market for employees. You have a lot of openings, and I think what we're instead seeing, what I think is a prevailing kind of an impending structural problem that we have is there's a good thing going. You have unemployment dropping. We're at 4.8%, which is pre-employment levels. Having said that, what you see is the migration of a lot of employees from, say, the tourism sector over to the construction sector, which is higher paying. You've also seen Governor Leongro put out some boot camps for medical coding, medical billing, CNAs, caregivers, healthcare professions, which are also, healthcare tends to be a little bit more, it tends to pay a little bit more than tourism, for example. And so what I think the impending challenge really isn't what the minimum wage is. or how the direction of that in the next 6 months to a year. It's really the structural adjustment that needs to be made to still offer an affordable product to our visitors coming here, but offer an affordable product and deliver the same service with the right people, highly skilled, gracious people in the hospitality industry. So that to me is a little bit more concerning than minimum wage. I tend to think minimum wage is something that should be pegged to the CPI, or something that should be pegged. You know, the federal government, they look at their employees every year and they assess what's the cost of living, and then they give out a COLA or something along those lines. So in my mind, I think a minimum wage discipline needs to be what we work towards, not just this fundamental fight, because the economist in me is going to say, no, let the market determine what the wage is. That's exactly what's going on now. Now, that's exactly what's leading to a lot of these structural challenges, right? But I think what it is picking a disciplined approach such that our employers are not surprised, like, oh, by the way, by tomorrow you're going to have to meet the federal minimum wage requirement, right? And go from $7 to $15. I would never want to see that with our local businesses. And at that point in time, I believe the government would have to step in anyway to give businesses some aid to help with that. So
I want to dig deeper into the unemployment stats in a minute, but I know you probably will have some agreement with Juan Carlos on the minimum wage issue.
Yeah, well, you know, around 100,000 jobs on island, out of that, 6,000 only of them are earning minimum wage. So when you're talking about the issue of minimum wage, it's something that the legislature is going to have to focus on and address. It needs to go through our Guam legislature. That's where we need people like Mana Silva and Kenlon Guerrero, Vince Borja, you know, Michelle Hope Titan, so the people that have experience in the area of business in prior administrations and can really crunch and look at those numbers. But I agree with you, it's not the priority, it's not the problem right now. The problem right now is the inflation and how much money you actually are ending up in your house to pay for your groceries and your fuel to be able to come to work and take your children to school. And how do we address that and make sure that you end up with more money in your pocket? If you just look at it on its own and start just saying, okay, we're going to increase the minimum wage, then the employers will have to increase the cost of the assets or the goods that those employees are producing, or cut the number of employers. So it's a technical, complicated aspect and issues, but bottom line, barely any employee in Guam is earning minimum wage right now. It shouldn't be the issue that we're focusing on.
Yeah, and I think I agree with you completely. I think inflation is kind of but is there anything we can do about it right now? What can we do? Are we kind of a slave to what happens on the U.S. mainland?
Well, during I think the last time inflation was this high, the Fed monetary policy lifted the interest rates to double digits, right? And people were getting, 11% mortgages. Reagan administration, Republican. And they did that because they wanted, the reason for that was to stifle inflation at the time. And right now the Fed is saying, or a lot of analysts are saying, that the Fed is going to keep raising interest rates through probably the end of 23, and then start dropping to 24 to normal levels, what we perceive to be normal levels. So if we think a 4.5% mortgage is normal, then maybe 2024. So what that really means, I think, is that inflation, what we're dealing with is something that's we're dealing with from now until probably at the end of 2023. And any fiscal policy directed at that, fiscal and monetary policy directed at that. There's obviously some federal movement towards it. There can be local movement as well.
But is there any local strategies that can kind of address inflation?
There are, and they need to be implemented. And part of that is in conjunction with the federal government. So let's start looking at the impact of inflation, not just in the entire United States, but really focusing on Guam, which is where we live and where we're suffering, right? Next month, actually this month, next month starting in a couple of days, the Feds are meeting. They're going to raise the interest rate 1 point. They've already sort of let everybody know, expect a point. They're meeting then in February. They're going to raise a minimum of 0.5 point depending on how things are moving on the economy. Every time that you raise the interest rate, you strengthen the U.S. dollar. It's sort of like it's a opposite sides of a pendulum. That only country in the world that's strengthening their currency right now is the United States. So no matter which currency you want to look at, you want to pick the Philippine peso, the Korean yen, or the Japanese yen, or the Korean yuan, you're going to end up noticing that we are probably around 24% more expensive than we used to be. So locally, that is going to have an impact on our tourism attraction because people will wait. They don't want to come in, the same as us. If we don't go to Japan when the yen's at 101, right? We wait till it to be at least at 115. So how can we address some of these concerns, right, and these issues? You need to start working with the federal government and try to get local exceptions because you have a disparate impact on this island of national policies and effects. And what can we try to do? We need to figure out how we can get some of our goods here on their shipping. We need to figure a way to lower shipping costs into Guam. Fuels, there's not a lot we can do. That's not Jones Act. But goods that are coming from the mainland, a lot of our groceries come from the mainland United States, California. 1/3 of the cost of that shipping cost is fuel for them. So if we can get some form of subsidies, temporarily 1 year, 2 years, a Jones Act exception, limited, maybe 2 ships, one for Matson, one for APL, so they don't keep fighting with each other. That's the type of thing that will try to bring a little bit more balance into the economy. The other one is, how can we attract tourism carriers to lower the cost of that airplane flight? Because right now, that jet fuel is even more expensive, the increase in regular fuel. So if we are able to get a temporary cabotage exception, let's say from one airport to another, Haneda to Guam, then that would allow you to have planes come here, drop tourists here, and continue up to the mainland United States. That would then decrease the cost of that airplane ticket in and out of Guam. But we need to be imaginative. We need to find ways around what's going on. In the 1970s, the hotels ended up getting a subsidy from the government, and they would provide a lower exchange rate for people that stay in their hotels, right? So if you stay at the Duset, then you can exchange at a lower rate. That's a short-term effort. That's something also like Gov Guam could look at, to working with the Hotel and Restaurant Association. But we need to figure a way that we try to reignite this economy.
Yeah, it sounds like we're going to have to be very, very creative in the next. We need to take another quick break, but we'll be back in just a moment.
My name is Vianza Selvage, and I have a 4-year-old daughter who goes to lots of learning daycare. So with the rising cost of living, it helps tremendously with bills. I don't have to worry about paying for childcare services. Knowing that this program is offered to our people, most especially our children, I think something to definitely be grateful for. I learned about Programan Panilan from the mayor's offices here, and my initial reaction to the program, I was actually in disbelief that this program offered free childcare services to our people. I wanted to give my mom a break for a little bit, so when I found out about the program, I jumped right on it. I was relieved because childcare at no cost. I'm thankful for this program because I don't have to worry about an extra set of bills coming my way. I'm grateful to the governor, the lieutenant governor, everyone behind the scenes that made this happen.
Need help paying for childcare? Guam families can receive financial support through Programan Pinilan. Learn more and apply at guamchildcare.com.
I'm Elizabeth Nicholas, and I'm voting for Joe.
My name is Elisa. Again, I'm voting for Joe.
I'm Hope Benavente de los Reyes, and I'm voting for Joe.
I'm Marjorie Linsky. I'm voting for Joe.
I'm Marilyn Tablante. I'm voting for Joe.
I am Deb Kenga. I am voting for Joe.
My name is John Ray Taitano, and I'm voting for Joe.
My name is Jerry Labosa, and I'm voting for Joe.
I'm Ellie Baldemore. I'm voting for Joe San Agustin.
Please vote Joe San Agustin for Senator. Thank you.
I'm Senator Joe Shimizu San Agustin, and I approve this message.
Want a real taste of New York? The classic New York pizza offers a big, bold taste that's a Guam favorite. It's handmade with 16 inches of foldable crust, a sweet marinara sauce, and your favorite topping. And at 30% larger than our large, classic New York pizza is only $10.99 for carryout. Bring together your family and friends for a classic New York pizza party. Each pizza is just $10.99 for carryout. Classic New York pizza. So close, you can taste it. Only at your Island Pizza Hut.
Dance party.
Let's go.
When inspiration strikes, say yes with the new Priority Unlimited credit card from First Hawaiian Bank. Wherever you shop, whatever you're shopping for, you can earn 2% cash back on everything you buy. From small stuff to big stuff to stuff you want. A card that rewards you for every purchase and helps you stay connected to everything that matters.
Fast, fun, and easy. That's how your home Wi-Fi should be. So start with an internet plan that fits your budget. Introducing your home Wi-Fi starter pack, also known as WISP. Enjoy up to 25 megabits per second for as low as $35 a month. Plus, a free router with your wireless subscription. That's hours of movies, games, social media, and more endless fun. Get your Wi-Fi starter pack today only at Docomo Pacific. Better together. Additional conditions may apply.
My name is Lisa Tahaji. I'm from the village of Umatic. I lost my job during COVID. For 1 year, I was staying with a family member, but I knew I had to find a place to stay. I was desperately looking for a home. I found out about the Relief Center from the Governor Lou and Lieutenant Governor Josh's Facebook page. I wasn't sure if they could help, but I thought I'd take a chance. I walked into the center and the staff was so understanding and compassionate. They helped me. Within a week, through their assistance, I was called to sign a lease agreement. My kids and I now have a roof over our heads, and I'm grateful for the help of the administration and the Relief Center. For anyone who needs any government assistance, I encourage you to visit the Relief Center. They are there to help.
It's coming. The time of year we've all been waiting for. Prepare yourself. Because on November 25th, 2022, Breeze 93.9 FM goes strictly Christmas. All day, every day through January 1st. So get ready for Christmas music 24/7 on the stations playing the soundtrack of your life.
If you are unable to vote on Election Day due to an illness or physical disability, you may be eligible for homebound voting.
Homebound service is available from October 10th to November 8th.
Registered voters need to submit their application before noon on November 8th for this service.
Print out the absentee application on gec.guam.gov, fill it out, and sign the affirmation.
Make sure to fill out all the requirements and attach a map to your residence.
You can mail your application to the Guam Election Commission at
P.O. Box BG, Hagatnya 96932.
Or you may also email it to voteabsentee@gec.guam.gov.
Or have someone submit it to the GEC office in Tumuning.
You can also call 477-9791 to arrange your time and learn more.
Remember, if you don't vote, you can't complain.
No excuses. Let's go.
Ready,
set,
vote.
Hello, I'm Gunnery Sergeant Ruben Tan from Marine Corps Base Camp Blas, personally asking you to join me in supporting the Marine Corps Toys for Tots program by collecting new and unwrapped toys for children this year. The Toys for Tots program, now in its 13th year on island, has partnered with the Chamber of Commerce, Matson Navigation Company, Catholic Social Services, and the Salvation Army to make this holiday season a time to remember for kids and teens throughout Guam. You may drop off your new and unwrapped toys between now and December 10th in any of our boxes throughout Guam or at the KUAM studio. We ask that when purchasing this year, please also remember gifts for older children and young teenagers. Marine Corps and the KUAM Care Force, we thank you for coming together and sharing the spirit of this holiday season.
So you're registered to vote? Well, what's next?
Find your precinct on gec.guam.gov.
And if you don't want to wait till Election Day, remember the early voting center at the Westin Resort begins on Tuesday, October 11th, and they're open from Tuesday through Friday up until Thursday, November 3rd. You can also check out these other satellite voting districts on Saturdays. Ready,
set,
vote.
Catch KUAM News Hotspot, a multi-platform news program broadcasting and streaming at 11 a.m. on KUAM TV8 Tuesdays through Fridays, with rebroadcasting at 3:30 p.m. and on TV11 at 5 p.m., as well as live streaming globally on our Facebook Live and YouTube digital platforms. Jason Solis features a blend of local, national, and regional news, plus lifestyle and entertainment features and extended interviews with top newsmakers.
KUAM News Hotspot is brought to you by Pacific Point, Do More, Get More, and Calvo Enterprises, Inc.